everyone, Sin for the Future here, and today we're doing yet another Empress Effect Zoia video because, well, there's a lot to talk about with this battle, so figured let's make a little bit more content out of it. Now, this specific thing we have going on here is something I was actually trying to do and I couldn't really find a good solution to. So this may very well be something exclusive, I guess. The thing we have going on here is it is a pedal board kind of deal. So we have a distortion, we have a chorus, and then we have a reverb. Pretty standard stuff. But the fun thing here is that you can switch between different settings on all these effects using the three pedals. Now, that doesn't sound especially different than most things, except that the pedals on the Zoia are not standard exclusives. So usually you use them to toggle on a effect and toggle off a effect. So for instance, you would set this to the overdrive, this to the chorus, and this to the reverb, which is pretty cool. But I figured I want something a little bit more interesting, and I want them to switch on and off different effects and change parameters on all effects instead of just toggling a single effect. So this is what I would call exclusive switching, where if I press one switch, the other switch will deactivate and all the settings will change, which is pretty cool. Now, it isn't the easiest to see because the Zoia is kind of poor in bright light, so I hope this translates well. Right now we have the left switch activated, and with the left switch activated we have distortion, and we have a bit of chorus, but we have no reverb. So if we play this, now if we switch to the second switch, we change some things around, we drop the distortion, we now have more chorus and a bunch of reverb. And in the third loop we go back to distortion. We have no chorus, but we do have some reverb. Now, in this specific example, we won't go over changing the routing. It is something I think I can do, but it's a bit complicated. So the effect order is always the same. It's also always distortion, chorus, reverb. It's just that whether or not the distortion is on changes and the mix for the chorus and the reverb changes in this patch. And again, if I press a pedal, the settings from another pedal will be ignored. So right now we're on the third pedal. We have 60. If we go here, it goes to 0. If we go here, it goes to 61. With the chorus, 22, 60, 0. So how do we make this? My first instinct was that it would be pretty simple, but there is no exclusive setting for the switches, so we have to make a little thing here. And that's what we have going on here. Now, what I've done here is I've placed the three pedals. So this is pedal 1, 2, and 3. So I try to make it a little bit corresponds with where the pedals are. So you can see here pedal 1, pedal 2, and pedal 3. And these are all momentaries. So if I press them, they will go off the second I let go. And that's important. And you could maybe already guess how this works if you watch the behavior of what is going on above. But let me just explain it a little bit better. What we have here is a output switch CV input with a channel select and 3 outputs. And the nice thing here is you can actually just change this value to whatever you want, but I leave it at 1. So value 1 goes into the switch, and then we can select the output. These outputs are coupled to the CV values down here. Down here we have a sample and hold. The sample and hold has a CV input at front and a trigger input. Every, let's see if I can show this. There we go. Every switch CV is connected to the trigger. So if I push a button, it will actually hold a sample. And the sample it holds is actually the value of the connection I've made. Now, because we're working with a switch with 3 positions, our first position is 0 to 33, the second position is 33 to 66, and the third position is 66 to 100. So I just dialed in the values for switch 1 is 5 because it's below 0 or below 30. The value of switch 2 is 34, which is above 33. And the last one is set at 73 because it's above 66. You don't have to dial in all that carefully. All that matters is that you split this up in however many switches you're using. We're using 3, so we need to divide it by 33. Now, if I press a button, so let's say I press this button, what happens is that the sample and hold will be triggered for a value of 0.0556, and it will hold this value until I press another button. That value is sent to the channel selector. So this channel selector is at 1 now. If I press this button, it will go to 2 because the value is 0.34. That's above 0.33. So it will go to channel 2, and it can go to channel 3 because I sent the CV 0.73, which is above 0.66. Now, depending on which button I press, it will output the value of 1 to any of these outputs. So at button 1, the output is here, button 2, the output is here, button 3, the output is here. These are all tied to the little blocks here on the first page, and these are just values. This is mostly because it's just easier to route things if they're on the same page, to be honest. You don't have to use this extra step. I just find it convenient, and also you can kind of easily see which switch is active, switch 1, switch 2, or switch 3. So I think that's pretty neat. 1, 2, 3. There you go. Also, I messed something up now by patching things, so let me quickly recover that. Now from here, we can just tie this value to any of the settings in the pedal. So what I've done here is, for the distortion, I've actually made a bypass because the distortion does not have a wet-dry setting, which is a bit annoying. So I've basically made a input switcher. Now if I send a 1 to the input switcher, it will output the signal to the distortion. If I don't send a 1, it will just send it from the input straight into the chorus. So I bypass the distortion. That's just a little trick because there is no wet-dry here. For all the others, the buttons just control the mix values. So here it controls the chorus mix and it controls the reverb mix, and here it controls the reverb mix and the selector for distortion or not. Now there's one more little thing I did here, is a bit of gain compensation, because at setting 1 the volume was higher than at setting 3. So what I did here is I've added a little VCA, and if I press the 1, it will actually send some negative dBs to the VCA through an inverter to make sure channel 1 and channel 3 are roughly the same loudness. That's basically all this is. Just a little bit of gain compensation to the output. And that's the exclusive switching behavior for if you want to have the option to just toggle between pedals. You can just copy this little setup with the sample and holds, and you can do that sort of thing as well. So that's the entire video for today. A little bit short, but hopefully it's something you find useful. And have a great day.